Okay, this time I'm going to go back and show you a few more features under frequency. Specifically, I want to show you how to do a quick bar chart or a quick pie chart. I would go to frequency, and right now I'm going to move back away from race, and I'm going to go up to the top with my early example of the 5 sites or the 5 districts. And when I look at display frequency tables, and that's checked here at the bottom, that's what I'm going to get. That's the default. But if I go over to charts, I can at the same time say I want to see a bar chart, and I scroll down here to chart values, and I can either get the number of teachers in each district, the frequency, or I can get the percentage. And percentage is more telling. So I'm going to click on percentage, and I'm going to click OK, and I get that same output, and now I've got percentages for each of the districts. It's very easy to format this, but I'm going to use the graphing function to show you how to do it. But very quickly, the most important function here would be to click on these bars. So I double click on the table to activate it, and then I click on the bars, and you'll see this light outline around each of the bars. And I can go up to the left corner, and you'll see a picture of charts with data value labels in them. And I just click on that, and now I can see the percentages, so that you don't have to, just line up across the percent on the y-axis. So that's a very easy way to do a quick graph. I could go back and forth between pie charts, bar charts, using frequencies or just the n sizes. So I'm going to go back to frequency with the same variable, analyze. I'm in my descriptive design. I'm wanting to know something about the number of something in the school sites, teachers in this case. If I clicked on this lower left corner and I took that check off, it wouldn't run the frequency tables anymore. It would just give me the graph that I selected. But I don't want a graph anymore, so I'm going to take that off. And I do want my frequency tables, but I also want to see what other statistics I can run. So I just click on statistics, and the most common ones are mean, median, and mode. Mean, what you would traditionally think of as the average. Median is if you sorted all the values from low to high, what's the one in the middle? And then the mode would be the most frequent response. But this is just another way to get to those particular values under the frequency function. The more important thing that you realistically might need to do from the frequency screen is called percentile values. So I want to do something like that. I want to know, again, with my class size variable, I want to cut them into 4 quartiles. The bottom 25%, the next 25%, up to 50 to 75, and then the top quartile. I want to know what those class sizes were, or I want to know what those scores were. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to go over and I'm going to say, under descriptives, what was your size of your class, and do OK. And again, I'll see the same frequencies. Somebody had a class size of 1, 2 teachers had a class size of 1, 11 teachers had a class size of 2, 10 teachers had a class size of 3, so forth. But here's my percentiles. And what that tells me is that if I said, what's the 25th percentile mean, you would say at least 25% of the teachers in this sample had a class size of 20 or lower. And the reason it's important to say that at least 25% is because that's just cutting it into fourth, and you may have 20 on up to the 38th percentile as well. So at least 25% of the teachers in the sample serve class sizes with 20 or fewer students. Similarly, the 75th percentile is at 26. So at least 75% of the teachers have class sizes of 26:1 or lower. That's what percentile is. But I can set those percentiles however I want to. So I'm going to go back to my frequency function, and I'm going to look at class size again, and I want to go to statistics, and instead of quartiles this time, I want to cut it into 10 equal groups. So I select cut points, and you'll see 10 equal groups. I could enter whatever value I wanted, and then I do continue, and I do OK. So now the bottom 10% in terms of class sizes are teachers with class sizes of 10 or fewer students. The top 10% have 28 or more students. 40%, at least 40% of the teachers have class sizes of 22 or less. So where this becomes useful is, let's say you have a large class and you're in intro to algebra class that you teach, and you have 150 students. You can take their scores and say, cut them into 10 equal groups, and you could say, what the bottom 10% get correct? What percentage did they get correct? What did the top 10% correct get? And it allows you to flag students, who are below passing or in the bottom quartile, students that you want to identify for programs, target for interventions, so forth. Percentiles are a good way to recognize them. So you could say, I want to identify the bottom 30% of students for some tutoring program. So I would look at their grades, and then let's say that 20 meant they got 20% correct on a test instead of really what it means, a 20:1 class size. I would look at all the students who had a 20 or lower, and that's who I would target for my tutoring interventions. So I'll try to stay away from changing what the charts actually mean, but the point here is it allows you to cluster things into certain groups to see who's excelling, to see who's in the middle of the pack, to see who's in the bottom quartile, for example. And that's an efficient way for identification and ways to think about where you need to allocate your resources and time.